Welcome to Choosing to Be, your home for intimate conversations on transformation. This is Amanda Wirtz Rosolowski, and I'm delighted to share this time with you. Welcome back. I am so excited to be together again. Today we are going to talk about authority, autonomy, and my own personal favorite, your inner navigational system. And I'd like to start off by asking you a question. Have you really claimed yourself as the authority of your own life? Insert pregnant pause. This is an important question. I'll repeat it. Have you really claimed yourself as the authority of your own life? Most of us, especially those listening to this type of podcast, would say yes, absolutely, I'm in charge. But in practicality, many of us are less than autonomous, and we're acculturated and even set up to function in a state of disempowerment. So how do we find our way back to ourselves? How do we make our voice a priority? How can we limit or protect ourselves from unnecessary influences? How can we encourage others to lead their own lives in an empowering way? First, let's take a look at this construct of autonomy. What does it mean to be autonomous, to be the authority of your own life? Let's take a look in the dictionary. Dictionary definition number 1 from the Oxford English Dictionary. Autonomy, having the freedom to govern itself or control its own affairs, acting independently. So not only having the freedom, but acting with that freedom. And who gives you that freedom? Only you. Only you. If someone has, quote, taken your freedom away, well, you're choosing to be in a controlling relationship. Maybe a topic for another podcast, perhaps. Dictionary definition number 2, Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Autonomy, having the right or power of self-government. Definition number 3, Cambridge Dictionary, independent and having the power to make your own decisions. Autonomy is essentially the ability to make independent decisions. Said another way, decisions which are not dependent on others, and then govern oneself, which means you bring your independent thoughts into reality, into action. During your lifetime, people can take a lot of things away, but they can never take away your choice. Amazing, right? This would suggest that we're full of choices, freewheeling in a land of expansive personal empowerment, steering fervently in the direction of our dreams, listening solely to our own inner guidance system, our inner compass, if you will. Oh my gosh, if this is you, that's wonderful. Freewheelers, unite. Most of us don't operate from this place, at least all the time. In fact, we're fortunate if we've been there for a season or even blinked our eyes, felt the exhilaration that comes from this kind of alignment. Many of us are in our metaphorical vehicles, moving erratically, and with some hesitation, frequently second-guessing our direction, panicked in the front seat, sometimes wanting to be in the back seat. We're running out of gas and frantically reading a manual, hoping someone would tell us what to do and where to go. When we're young, even with the best upbringing, our decisions are largely guided by our parents. Then we shift our attention to our peers. In some ways, this is developmentally appropriate. We want to be accepted. We want to please these, quote, important others. And as young people, we don't have the boundaries or the insight. So their voices can become very loud and very large. You should do this. You need to do that. If you don't do this, insert doomsday script. Those are my favorite. Now we've added their fears and projections into our playbook. Not only do those voices emerge with great gusto, we become accustomed to them. And then even welcome them in times of uncertainty. Our own voice, our own precious voice, becomes engulfed in an ocean of well-intentioned commentary. None of this was malicious. In fact, your parents, your family members, your partners, your peers, they just wanted what's, quote, best for you. And besides, this was all done to them too. I guarantee it, that's my money back guarantee, that you have done this to them too. If you're with me, say yeah. Hopefully there was some yes. I've done this. Ask my family members. Ask my friends. Definitely ask my husband. Yep. I've had lots of ideas on how people, quote, should live their lives, shoulding all over the place, all over myself and them. And honestly, I can still fall into this trap. Our family and friends are notorious for knowing, quote, what's best. But they might have great ideas. They might have important insight, invaluable suggestions, but here's the hook. The moment you make them the authority, you've lost clear access to your inner navigational system, your own voice, your own choice, which is essentially your point of power. The moment they make you the authority, they've lost the very same thing. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Let's go a level up and look down on this. Now we're an interconnected community of people with a weak or at minimum inefficient inner navigational system staring at one another for direction. And we feel exhausted, panicked, and disempowered. Now, don't believe me. There's research on that, and we'll get to it in a moment. But the web gets even stickier. And if you've ever had a girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, partner, significant other, a child, you're going to nod your head yes to this. We become entangled, sometimes beautifully and with many benefits. In romantic relationships, we become entangled. We create or join together in families. Our very own identity can easily become enmeshed in this we-ness. And we're naturally, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Everything's good until it's not. We're considering others. We're listening to our partners, even imagining what they think we should or shouldn't do. Sometimes they don't even have to say a thing. We create this conversation in our mind, even unconsciously. No, he wouldn't like that. He wouldn't agree with that. Or she'd react really negatively to that. He'd or she'd really want me to do it this way or at that time. And because they are, quote, important people, we can, without even being aware, put them in the driver's seat, or at least let them hold the wheel with one hand. Then we make life way more complicated. We look to our teachers, administrators, employers, civic leaders as the authority on our lives. We ask people we don't even personally know. Movie stars, music stars, pop culture icons, voices in the media to tell us what to do and how to live. We even pay strangers to be the authority in our lives. Coaches, I love coaches. Life hackers, love them. Various experts, love them too. The undercurrent, the riptide that will pull us down, suffocate us, is this subtle thinking. If I could just get their formula, I will be okay. If I could just get their formula, I'll be healthy, successful, fulfilled. What is it? They know what to do and how to do it. I will override my navigational system and apply their formula, even ignoring my own feelings. Now, seeking out advice from those who know us well, especially if they have good communication skills, can be a great idea. I do it all the time. Getting input from trusted advisors, especially those with a lot of life experience, amazing. I also do this all the time. Being open to the insight and reflections of others who have achieved the results we want. By the way, emphasis on that. You only want to go to those people who are getting the results you want. Amazing. So important. Go. I have gleaned so much from the contributions of others. I still do every day. I need those conversations and that support. We can greatly benefit from the ideas and opinions of others. We need one another to grow. We are in it to win it together. But again, the important subtlety is here. You can trust yourself to know what is helpful. You can trust yourself to know what feels true for you, what is resonant for you. This must be your primary aim. You can seek out high-level input. Emphasis on high level. You can seek out high-level input when you feel called. Notice I said when you feel called, not when everyone else, hashtag your loved ones, feel like it's their time to shine and share their opinion. You can then sift and sort those ideas, those opinions, that information, but always, always keeping an eye and maintaining control of your inner navigational system. Let's imagine you're driving a vehicle. It's called your life. There are people in the car with you. We'll call those important people, loved ones, but also influences, people that you listen to. Could be even be people you follow on social media. You might ask them, what are your thoughts on that turn up there? We're in the car metaphor. What are your thoughts on that turn up there? Have you experienced that? Do you have any advice? How do you see me handling this right now? Knowing that at the end of the day, this is ultimately your car and your journey, not theirs. They might have some good input or not. Be open to that. Now imagine that their voices are really loud, lots of them, and they're talking at the same time. Now try and drive that way. Have you ever experienced this? If so, you've likely ended up exhausted, panicked, and frequently second-guessing yourself. That is fundamentally disempowerment. It's not unique, though. People have suffered from this phenomenon. And as a result, people have studied this. Let's get to the research. Some of this has been out there a very long time. In 1998, social psychologist Roy Baumeister. He was a social psychologist renowned for his groundbreaking research on the self. And in 1998, he published a paper called Decision Fatigue and Over-Reliance on External Input. What did Baumeister discover? That constantly seeking external validation can lead to decision fatigue, reducing your ability to make authentic choices. What about Julian Rotter, a psychologist who developed the social learning theory? 1966, a long time ago, published a paper, Internal versus External Locus of Control. We've heard quite a bit of locus of control. What did he discover? People with an internal locus trust their own decisions and feel responsible for their outcomes. Those who rely too much on external opinions or have an external locus often feel powerless. One last piece of research, Donald Winnicott, who was a pediatrician, a psychoanalyst, who made huge strides in developmental psychology in 1960, published a paper entitled Authentic Self versus False Self. What did he discover? People who orient toward their inner authenticity, people who foster self-acceptance and focus on their personal truth, develop an authentic self. However, people who suppress their true selves to please others, making their voice louder than their own, overriding their navigational compass, often feel disconnected from their purpose. Oh, shoot. Let's circle back. When we make others the authority, even subtly, we become exhausted, disempowered, and disconnected. So that sounds horrible. Let's not do that. And if we know what we don't want, then we know more clearly what we do want. So let's flip it around, because I love to do that. If you want to feel energized and empowered and connected to your purpose, you must make yourself the authority on your own life. Steve Jobs said, quote, "Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice." Let me read it again. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. He said, don't let it happen. We tend to think of Steve Jobs as some sort of superhuman. He was just a person. He was a pioneer trying to figure it out. By the way, we're all people and pioneers just trying to figure it out. The answer is inside of you. It is not out there. William Shakespeare, if you're into Shakespeare more than Steve Jobs, it is not the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves. So what does this mean in a practical sense? First of all, I want you to celebrate the times that you have put your butt in the front seat, grabbed both hands with the steering wheel, and listened to your own navigational system. We're not doing anything new. We're just going to be more aware. We're going to do this more frequently and with more fluidity, which means we need to settle our bodies, invite peace and quiet so we can hear our own thoughts and feelings. Listen to podcast 1, this page left intentionally blank. Do what helps you get closer to your truth. A little game I play. If I had no one to answer to, no limitations at all, what would I be doing? Now, I'm not suggesting that you do the thing or give yourself permission to do that thing, but the answer can be pretty revealing. Another technique, try visualization. This is particularly helpful if you're trying to decide between two directions. Close your eyes and imagine yourself doing one of them. Then wipe that picture clean and imagine yourself doing the other thing. One of them will likely feel more alive, will feel more powerful. Get clear on what you feel your next, emphasis on next, right step or right turn might be. Then ask for help when you need it. Ask for insight. And get the backseat drivers to try another approach, like shutting up. But don't say that. I'll give you some alternatives. Or do say that. You're the authority on you. When I was 17 years old, I just returned from a year of study abroad. Thank you so much, Rotary International. My parents were both very much in addiction and had divorced. I spent the part of my senior year living on an office couch in a makeshift foster home. I had no money for college, and I was completely burned out, trying to finish 2 years of high school in 1 year. I was pretty good at the violin, though, and my mother, a typically mild-mannered woman who was a gifted musician herself, absolutely revolted when I shared I was planning to join the military. She had other plans for me, and those included playing the violin at a major university where I would then accumulate a lot of debt. I did not want to do either of those things. I wanted to join the military, move back to Europe, be independent of my family in every way imaginable, and someday fund my education. I did not invite her opinion or ask for her advice, yet she felt compelled to share. And with a furious scowl, her voice penetrated the room with such intensity. She said, "You are making the worst decision of your life." I can still see her face. What did I say? When you figure out how to live your life, you can do mine. Now, where the hell did that strength and clarity come from? I don't know. But there wasn't any discussion after that, and less than a year later, I was wearing a uniform. And she ironically turned into a very proud mother. We project our desires and our fears on one another all the time. This story really illuminates that. It's a lovely example. We do this all the time. And we can stop doing this. We cannot control or change others. Don't waste your energy. But we can change ourselves. When we feel the need to superimpose our ideas, we can pause. We can ask if someone would like our input, our reflections, and then wait. If they say yes, we can remind them that they are the authority on their life and then share our ideas. If they don't want our feedback, that's okay. I would even respect that they had the courage to say no thanks. I have a good friend who's really good at these nuances. Just the other day, she was sharing a tenuous family situation and how she wasn't quite clear what she was going to do about it yet. Then she stopped and said, "I don't know, and it's not time to know. And I know that I will know." That was pretty clear to me. She was floating in the lake of I don't know, and she was okay with that. She didn't want or need my push or my paddle, and I really respect that. If someone is offering their advice, their opinion, their input, and you don't want it, you can help yourself and your relationship by creating some great boundaries. Maybe you haven't learned this before or really been in a practice of it, but you can do it now. You could say something like, I appreciate your perspective. And right now, I need to work through this on my own. Or I'm not looking for feedback right now, but I will reach out if I need it. Thank you so much. Or I need to handle this my own way right now, but I really appreciate your willingness to help. You can be kind. You can be sincere. You can be appreciative. If you know that you don't want any feedback before you share, you can set that stage and say, I'm not looking for input. I just really want to share what's going on, or what I'm thinking, or what I'm struggling with. One of my favorite things to say is, I just need a witness. Then instead of bulldozing someone over with your advice, your opinions, your input, notice. Self-awareness is key. Notice your inclination to rush in with your relative genius. No, we all think we have such great ideas, don't we? But instead, pause. You could ask something like, of course, when they're done sharing, give them lots of space. Would it be helpful if I shared my perspective, or would you just like me to listen? Or you could say, I don't want to overstep, but I'm happy to offer some ideas if that would be helpful. Or I have some thoughts on this if you're interested. If not, that's okay too. Or something even more general, would you like to brainstorm together? You're giving yourself, by repatterning your communication, your standards, you're giving yourself and them an incredible gift. You're essentially creating a culture of healthy communication and empowerment. The inference behind all of this is you can drive this thing all by yourself, and so can I. But we can be a resource and a witness to one another. One of the greatest gifts you can give is your vote of confidence in another person. You can give absolutely no advice whatsoever and still make a huge impact. It sounds something like this. I believe in you, and I know you're going to figure this out. I believe in you, and I know you're going to get through this. I believe in you, and I know you're going to find your way. Heck, say it to yourself in times of uncertainty. I believe in myself. I know I'm going to figure this out. I believe in myself. I will get through this. I am finding my way. And then listen. Reduce, it's up to you. Reduce the room noise. All the voices in real life, the voices on social media, the voices on the advertisements, constantly trying to sell you a formula. There's a reason why they're trying to sell formulas, because people buy that. Okay. Information is good, but no one knows your way. You can reduce the voices. You're the gatekeeper. Make some space for yourself. We're so busy. Make some space for yourself. If you don't have the answer right now, then you either need to go in for more information, and you could trust yourself to know where, or it's not time to know. You can sift and sort through the information you requested. Put your hands on the wheel and tune in to your own navigational system. Feel the accelerator pedal and the brake. Take a deep breath. It's all you. Feel the fluidity of staying attuned to yourself as you move through life. And the more you do this, the more you'll enjoy the road. And that, my friends, is the whole point. Choose to be the authority of your own life. your choice is the most important thing you have. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please share it and subscribe. Thank you for being part of our growing community. Until next time, this is Amanda Wirtz Rosolowski, celebrating your highest and most important choice, who you are choosing to be.